What's cracking, trainers? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon GO Battle League content. And in today's video, we got an Ultra League team that RossyShawn recommends to try because they were able to hit Legend with it earlier this season. And they actually, this is not the Legend run proper. They actually went and recorded some games after the fact, about the 26,000-2,700 ELO range, just to show off this team. Sent them to me so I could showcase them for you guys, because I think the intention here is to show off a really strong team that they want to help other people maybe get some ELO with. So we're going to be looking at the team right now. Now, Forretress and all three of these Pokemon really are solid investments for the Ultra League. I know that the Ultra League is extremely expensive, but if you're slowly working on your roster, I know I was for a long time just grinding one thing at a time to try and build up a roster for this league. And Forretress is a super solid investment to make with the good coverage and charge moves that it has flexibility with Volt Switch or Bug Bite if you prefer to pick one or the other. And speaking of flexibility, we got a Lapras on this team with Legacy Ice Beam, but Psywave brought it to a whole new level. Lapras elevated itself to meta contender, and in the back as well, we have a Shadow Dusknoir. I'm going to tell you a piece about Shadow Dusknoir. I built one a couple seasons ago for the first time. I was using a regular Dusknoir. Did okay. Definitely no massive complaints about it. It was solid, but it's a wet noodle. We have a Shadow Dusknoir. I built it, and I agree full-heartedly that it is the best safe switch in the entirety of the Ultra League. So if you have one or have been thinking about building one, full send that bad boy. All three of these Pokemon look like they're going to be solid in the upcoming season, so they're going to be safe investments. So let's get into the games here. RossyShawn is going to be piloting this team that they ran to Legend here in the 2600s. In the first game, we see Forretress mirror match. Oh boy, exciting. Now the opponent is on Bug Bite, which gives a massive advantage to RossyShawn's Forretress here, which has the Volt Switch, which charges up energy much quicker. They get to the Rock Tomb first. Now, we're going to look to see the debuff go through as well as the damage here. The opponent not bothering to shield. I think they know that they will not win this matchup, which gives a really solid advantage here to RossyShawn, because what we can do now with this ability to win this matchup is set the pace of the game. Lapras and Dusknoir by themselves form a really strong core. And what a core is it's just a pair of Pokemon that cover each other's weaknesses very well. Forretress is going to bank all that energy. The opponent's going to bring in their Belly Bolt. Now, it is on Thunder Shock, so Dusknoir is going to look to go for the charge move here before the opponent can throw that Parabolic Charge. The opponent does not shield. They are not interested in ramping up the Parabolic Charging menace of a Belly of the Bolt that we have in front of us. They're just going to go straight for it. And now RossyShawn's looking to go for a charge move, going to go for the harder hitting Dynamic Punch. This Fighting Ghost coverage is unwallable, save for Hisuian Zoroark, and the opponent has to fire off a charge move right now. RossyShawn's looking to make switch advantage a thing here. If Parabolic Charge is going to get the shield here, the opponent comes in with a Regidrago. Oh, this is awkward. Well, we have Forretress, which walls the energy from the Regidrago, but it is getting pretty low. The opponent does go ahead, and they're going to shield that up. Now the Regidrago is going to go for the move here, and now the Forretress going to just take that energy. The opponent almost gets the knockout, but a couple Dragon Breaths after are going to do the trick. Now the opponent is going to have to deal with this Lapras, which has access to Ice Beam. Could easily eliminate the Regidrago as soon as that shield is down, and we're going to put a shield on the Dragon Energy. Not messing around here. This could be a bait. Not going to try and call it here. Now the opponent goes for the catch. They were trying to read RossyShawn like a book, but unfortunately the only thing they caught are these hands. Ice Beam is going to be able to get the knockout, and the opponent is only going to be able to try to call that bait, and they take the win. Good game. Next game, Forretress staring at a Drifblim in absolute glee. What a nice hat, by the way, this Drifblim has. The opponent also on Hex. They're going to get to these moves real fast. The opponent, however, is going to... wait, shouldn't that have been... Did they get one turn lag somewhere? That's unfortunate. No, was that 4? I can't count. I'm already having so much fun. I'm just losing count of all. Anyway, you saw. You're watching the games with me here. The opponent comes in with a Primate, able to tank one move. The opponent throws right away. Okay, no, they probably just threw on alignment, which is when the fast moves have like an overlapping common number of turns, whereas in this case, I believe it was Forretress throwing 3 Volt Switches where the opponent threw, I believe, 4. of their move and then swapped out, which would have aligned on turn 12, so Forretress gets a Volt Switch through. Anyway, Dusknoir is going to get the farm down here on the Primeape, and the Drifblim is going to come in. Yeah, they had 4 hexes. I don't know. I thought they were 5 hexes, but I don't know. I can't count. That's part of my problem. As the opponent has hex, they're not going to be able to farm down, and Dusknoir has a Dynamic Punch ready to go. It has not skipped Arm Day in a while, and it's going to show it. Dynamic Punch is going to not get any damage done because it gets shielded, and then the Forretress is going to come in here. And mind you, Lapras has not even seen the field yet, but because Virizion is the final Pokemon on the opponent's team, they are not able to swap out. Any debuffs that they take will not be cleared here. And now RossyShawn's looking to go for just Rock Tomb after Rock Tomb after Rock Tomb. Going to make this Virizion really, really sad. All they have to do at this point is come in with the Lapras and go for an Ice Beam. But I think at this point, they probably want the opponent to throw some of that energy. They've got so much energy. And now they got to go for a charge move. Is this even going to be enough, dude? It's 3 times. Oh, dude, that's not even close. Going for another Rock Tomb. No, we're going for that Earthquake. The opponent forced to send some energy our way, and that's going to open the door for Lapras. At this point, it just needs to go for a Sparkling Aria. No, Dusknoir comes in, looking to make it so that there is no Lapras. Lapras sitting in the back with pom-poms on its fins, saying, "Go team! Go team! It's your birthday!" And now Virizion's going to go down and go back to its Pokeball for a nice rest. Good game. Next game, we have Forretress on the lead here, and it's going to be seeing a Primeape. This is some interesting dilemma here because Rock Tomb is not happy. All right, we're seeing an immediate switch to the Dusknoir. Going to have to take a super effective Rage Fist, but the opponent only going to be able to do a chip and dip here. They cannot stay in this matchup, and now they're going to come in with a Cresselia. That's unfortunate because these confusions are going to do a lot of damage to the Dusknoir, but Rossy's Dusknoir has so much energy. They'll be able to go for back-to-back Shadow Punches if they go for just one more Astonish. Oh, the Astonish was beautiful. One Astonish and then the move. Probably 2 Astonishes and then the move if the opponent decides to shield. Oh, yes, they do. Because you can survive the confusions and get to the next Shadow Punch. This trainer. Oh, we're in each other's heads here. Shadow Punch is going to get the final shield from Cresselia. And then in comes Forretress to just dare them to throw some energy. The opponent has the Primeape, but it's too little too late because Lapras is going to be able to shield up a potential close combat. It's just a Rage Fist. They're just kidding. The Sparkling Aria is going to get thrown here. Lapras is trying to get rid of this Primeape as quick as it can. The opponent comes in with a ha! Hold on. This is the Ultra League trainer. That's a Hypno. Hello! Spice Lord Supreme has brought a Hypno into this house, and I'm okay with it. Fire Punch me, please. Fire Punch this Forretress. No, it's Thunder Punch. All right, so the coverage move of choice looks to be Thunder Punch. The opponent going to go for another charge move. Do they have the Fire Punch? Oh, that would be so funny. No, it's Shadow Ball, and it barely tickles the Forretress, and Forretress is going to be looking to go for a couple of Volt Switches here before tossing this Rock Tomb, wanting to make sure they have close to another charge move. Just in case this happens, the opponent catches the Rock Tomb and is now going to have to concede because Hypno's not going to be able to take it. And that's a good game. Forretress on the lead versus Empoleon. This is a really nice lead because we're on Volt Switch. If this was Bug Bite, this would be a problem. The opponent in shambles swaps to a floor just... Oh, Forretress, you dirty, dirty birdie. You just break this core so badly, and I am totally here for it. The opponent, however, is going to be able to get to the Chilling Waters in just 5 Fairy Winds before Forretress can even consider throwing a Rock Tomb, but it's resisting these Fairy moves, and honestly, Dusknoir has a pretty solid matchup into the opponent's Empoleon that I think that RossyShawn's probably just looking to save it for later, but here goes another Rock Tomb from Forretress. Dusknoir and Lapras both sitting in the back waiting to try to make their, make their move, make their chance in the spotlight. Make their trainer proud during this battle. In comes the Dusknoir, looking to get a farm down. The opponent not going to fall for it. Comes in with the Empoleon. However, the opponent is going to have to shield moves here. A Shadow Punch would be nearly lethal after these Astonishes register, and that's going to be a really unfortunate place for the opponent to be, having to shield those moves. Going straight for another Shadow Punch. The opponent wanted to go for one and then the charge move, but Dusknoir looking to get bow shields right away, and now I bet you it doesn't let it go. You got bow shields. We are a happy place to be. I don't even think the opponent's opponent's Hydro Cannon is going to knock out. Not quite, however. It's not. Oh, the opponent gets scared of another move coming through. They are not going to be able to get that farm down. They're going to go for the Hydro Cannon, and that's going to take them out, but that's also all their energy gone. Forretress comes in. The opponent has a Virizion, and up 2 shields to 0. Virizion is not going to have a good day despite having nothing but super effective damage for this Lapras. Lapras has the Ice Beam with just a few Psy Waves away. Now the opponent going to be looking to go for another charge move. Lapras is going to try to overfarm by just a little bit here, probably before throwing this Ice Beam, and then the opponent not going to be able to make a catch, absolutely locked in, making sure that that animation does not break, that Virizion does not disappear, and that Ice Beam is going to get the knockout, and the opponent concedes the game immediately. Well played. Forretress in the next game against not a Nidoqueen. That's not what we want to see. Immediate safe switch to the Dusknoir. The opponent is on Mudslap, but they do not want to have to throw those resisted Poison Fangs, and so an immediate safe switch over to another Poison on the team. The opponent in absolute shambles if they see a ground type, but that's okay. Every team kind of has to lose to something, doesn't it, anyway? Shadow Punch is going to be able to get the shield off this Shadow G-Weezy here, which is going to have to shield again if it doesn't want to have a bad time with this Shadow Punch. That's Shadow on Shadow Violence, and that's going to do quite a lot of damage. The opponent unable to get the full farm down, left with very little of their HP bar left. In comes Lapras trying to get the farm down, but unfortunately the Psy Waves not going to be enough. And now the, oh, that's a Play Rough. That's going to do quite a bit of damage, but unfortunately for them, Tentacruel. Oh no. How bad off are we against the Lapras here? The opponent is going to look to go for a charge move. This should only ever be a Scald. The opponent is now going to have to deal with a Forretress with a shield advantage. This Nidoqueen has a Poison Fang. They're looking to go for it. They are not bothering to even build up to another charge move. Poison Fang. 1, 2, 3, 4. Poison Fang. That's what we do. Throw 2 Volt Switches and go for the Earthquake, because that's the good timing. If you have a 4-turn move, you get there on turn 8. They get their 3rd Mudslap done on turn 9. The opponent absolutely calls a bait and gets slapped. Tentacruel comes in, but unfortunately for the opponent, they could not afford to call that bait. Forretress is going to be dominating this endgame as it looks to permanently drop the attack and then go for the Volt Switch. The opponent is going to try to throw some energy, but they throw it into the Lapras. Are we going to 2-shield flex on this trainer? Scald is not going to do it. No attack drop either. Sparkling Aria gets thrown here. The opponent's going to have to shield one of these, because 2 of these plus the Psy Waves is going to be more than not even enough, dude. They just go for the farm down. Oh no, unfortunate for the opponent. Good game. RossyShawn's picking up, what is that, a 4-1-5? 5-0 to start it off, and that's some good stuff here. Next game, we have Scizor, and because we have Volt Switch, this is a great matchup for the Forretress, resisting those bullet punches. The opponent's energy only really present here in the form of Night Slashes. They're never going to go for a Trailblaze for that guaranteed boost, because the bullet punches are resisted. There's really, like, there's no reason for them to go for it. Rock Tomb, however, would be a problem. The Earthquake, even more so. Going to build up to the Earthquake before throwing a charge move. Forretress looking to get a shield here. The opponent chickens out, shield and Jonkas, drops a video on, what is that, Legend Teams? I couldn't see. Oh, shout out to Jonkas, dude. Absolute respect for him and what he does, man. All right, we're going for the Rock Tomb here. Gonna drop it on the Scizor's head like a ton of bricks. The opponent not willing to invest a second Protect Shield. In comes the belly of the bolt with Thundershock, and they're going for the move right away. Oh, yeah, I like this shield because we can get a shield back, or, well, actually, no, we go for the shield back. The opponent sends it a Florges, and now the Earthquake is pointless. But now it opens up a situation where now we might be able to overwhelm the opponent with the Dusknoir later in the game. Now the opponent going to go for a charge move here. I do believe that's enough for the Moonblast. If they don't have Trailblaze, that's a good thing for the Lapras, because Trailblaze would be leaving us in absolute shambolific state right now. Going to go for the Sparkling Aria. A little bit of chip damage, but it should be enough to take out the Florges. The opponent no shields, and now Belly Bolt just gets worn down the rest of the game. The opponent going to have to go straight for Parabolic Charges to try and get its defenses up. The opponent does have a shield left, but where are they going to use it? The opponent going for a ton of energy. This could be a Zap Cannon, and Dusknoir suddenly shaking in its wee. Never mind, there's no boots on that thing. It's Parabolic Charge time, though, and the opponent gets the defense up, but now they're going to go for another one. This, I think you lived this anyway. Oh, yeah. Parabolic Charge not going to do enough here. Do we go for the Shadow Punches? I think so. Thundershocks do it quite a bit, but not enough here. And the Shadow Punch is the safe play, even though Dynamic Punch would have been enough. The opponent has to respect it at this point because of how low they're getting. The Shadow Punch is going to leave them low. And Lapras, well, not really in range to be able to survive a move. However, we have a shield and we have a bunch of Psy Waves that are going to go through, and honestly, those should be enough here to take the knockout. If he doesn't, that's going to be what the Sparkling Aria is for. Lapras going for the 1-2 punch here. Sparkling Aria and some Psy Waves get the knockout on the Belly Bolt, which was poised to make a potential sweep. Never mind, RossyShawn is too goated for that. Good game. Getting into the next battle here, Forretress against another Shadow Scizor. This is exactly where you want to see the Scizor because it has a really good time against everything that we have in the back. So Forretress looking to build up some energy, and the opponent comes in with a low and send slash. Oh no, and Lapras is going to be able to handle that very nicely. Gets a free shield advantage out of the deal as well. The opponent going to go for a charge move, but in comes Lapras. Now Lapras is going to do well here because of the fact that it has Sparkling Aria to fire back. The opponent does go for drill runs, but they have Powder Snow, and by the way, Alolan Sandslash is the definition of something that you should not just safe switch out like that because of the fact that it's double. Bro, trainer, hold on. What do we do against the fire type, bro? Huh? Trainer, I need to find this trainer, and I need to know, what do we do? Do we just top left immediately to literally any fire type? Like, what is the play here? I'm genuinely concerned now. Trainer, Talonflame would like to know your location. Forretress is going to be putting so much pressure on this right now. The Rock Tomb is going to be able to get the knockout here. The opponent has their answer to fire, but if it's in the lead, how bad off are they? They just lose an entire portion of their team. That's, oh man. But anyway, Alolan Sandslash, because it's double weak to fighting and fire, and also does not have a very convincing matchup into pretty much any of its counters, it's not something that you typically want to safe switch because it's most likely just going to get dogged on. And the same thing goes for like Bastiodon. That's why I tend to shame trainers who just safe switch Bastiodons out in the Great League, because they're just asking to get fully farmed down, and whatever farms that thing down, the energy is just going to be able to take it. Hold on, no, we're losing the game. Oh, what? No, the Feraligator's too much. The Scizor was too much. Oh, and as much as I hate it, they safe switch the Alolan Sandslash and they win. Darn it, we should have run a fire type. Oh, and shambles in the next game. We have that's a Mudshot Galarian Stunfisk. By the way, if you're running Galarian Stunfisk at this point in time, unless they rework Mudshot again in the future, you do want to be running Thunder Shock because it does offer better energy generation, and the damage not as much, but it's still, the energy is really where Stunfisk thrives. The opponent, however, is going to take that Earthquake to the face, and that's going to drop their Unova Stunfisk down under half HP. The Mud Bomb going to come through in an immediate safe switch into the Dusknoir here. The opponent brings in their Florges, but unfortunately, well, Dusknoir does really good in this matchup. The Astonishes plus the Shadow Punch, even after a debuff, give it the chance to threaten a shield or a knockout in this matchup quite convincingly. At least that's what I'm led to believe because I've run this thing a few times and I'm kind of familiar with this matchup. Not quite a knockout, but yes, if you get the first Shadow Punch off, it definitely does guarantee you a knockout or a shield here, but the opponent going to go for another move. This is just Chilling Water. It's not enough, I don't think. The opponent could get a shield here, but no. RossyShawn's going to let it go. Lapras comes in, tries to get the farm down, but in comes a Togekiss, but this Lapras is ahead on energy and can go for the Sparkling Aria. The opponent does have Aura Spheres, and those are a problem. But if Forretress can find its way to another Earthquake and get these shields down, I think that there might be a solid chance for victory in this game for the Forretress if it has to match up against that Unova Stunfisk in the back. Otherwise, Lapras has got to be our key to victory. Going for the Sparkling Aria, looking to try to get this opponent's Togekiss out of here. Can we catch? Bro, an Aura Sphere catch on the Dusknoir would be an absolute savage play. Can we make it happen right now? Come on, we've been in each other's heads once already, trainer. We're going to do it again. We're going to manifest it. Here comes the Aura Sphere catch. I'm calling it right now. Going to look to go to catch the move. In comes the Dusknoir. Oh, come on. The game wouldn't let him switch. Oh, come on. Oh, no. Oh. Oh. Dude. Why? Have you robbed me of this? I wanted it so bad, man. We were there. I saw him tap the button and everything. Now as I'm recovering from my shambolific state, in comes the Dusknoir as Lapras gets the final shield, and Forretress needs to find that Earthquake. It's got everything it needs. The opponent, I think, just recently swapped out of their Pokemon into the Stunfisk, and if you can survive this Mud Bomb, we may have a chance. The opponent gonna go for one last Mud Bomb into the Forretress. Gonna go for the Earthquake here. No swap out from the opponent. Earthquake is gonna be able to knock out this Unovan Pancake. Yes, it can. And in comes the floor, just getting farmed down by the Volt Switch, and it's going to be a good game. Well played. Next game against a trainer that we either will feature soon or have already featured with some Spidops gameplay, and that's Lil Toner, and they're a regular friend of the channel as well. So we're going to see the Forretress winning lead here, at least so it seems, right? Hydro Cannon's still going to put quite a dent into the Forretress, but another opponent running the Empoleon Florges core, because unfortunately it's just that good, and I kind of hate it because Florges is everywhere and it's really good, but I can't stand Florges anymore, man. It's just it always has the moves I don't want it to have. Moonblast here, in this case, is going to be the move we want it to have, and Lapras is a pretty nice response here because they cannot go for the debuff and Chilling Water, and while they can go for Trailblaze, Lapras can still take a couple of those. The opponent unable to get to, no, never mind, they have a last-second charge move, a little parting gift for the Lapras, as it were. The Moonblast will do quite a nice little chunk out of the Lapras, but they're just going to be food for the Empoleon anyway. Looking to go up to 2 Sparkling Arias before the opponent can farm down here. They will need to throw energy in order to dispatch this Lapras, unless they would like to spend a shield for this farm down, which they just might have to. Going for the last second Sparkling Aria. Lapras looking to lock a shield in, and in comes the Forretress immediately and puts up a shield here, most likely against this Hydro Cannon. Now the opponent has the opportunity to swap out. No, the Empoleon stays in, wait, and then they come in with a Kommo-o. Kommo-o has what it needs to be able to do really well in this endgame until we see a Rock Tomb. The opponent not going to shield this. No, they're not. Absolutely not. Earthquake will be able to do quite a lot of damage here, but the attack drop from that Rock Tomb is going to hopefully make it so this upper hand is not quite going to be able to knock out. Can we get to one more in the Earthquake? Absolutely. RossyShawn's Forretress putting down the law here. Earthquake does massive damage to Kommo-o, the opponent not willing to put up a shield, and I mean, yeah, they just kind of lose here to the Dusknoir, and they know it and they concede. Good game, well played. Next game, we see Cradily, and that's a pretty good spot for Forretress to be in if it was on Bug Bite. But because it's on Volt Switch, I believe this is actually a losing matchup for the Forretress. Oh boy, I mean, you have Lapras in the back, so unfortunately we have to stay in and play this out. So this might just be one of the most boring Ultra League matchups you've ever seen. Especially when the game decides we're going to have a weak connection today and lag. Oh no, not this again. Going straight for the Rock Tomb after going for a Volt Switch once the game finally decides to kick itself back into gear. Who knows how much energy the opponent has at this point. They could have at least 15 Rock Tombs stored. Who knows? It's hard to say. We couldn't see what was going on. Rock Tomb here, going to do quite a bit. Bring down the Forretress low here. We're going to swap in to the Dusknoir, resisting the acids. The opponent going to go ahead and stay in and go for the Rock Tomb. But honestly, Dusknoir is fine. That energy is usually going to hit pretty hard, and the opponent brings in their own Shadow Dusknoir, it looks like, and they're going to have to put up a shield against this Shadow Punch, and then possibly the next one too, because those would do quite a lot of damage, and would Astonish after this. Certainly going to add up as well. The opponent does not put up 2 shields, and Astonish down almost happens, but the opponent down a shield, but still has a lot of energy. Lapras is going to throw up a shield here to see if it can block off a Dynamic Punch, but the opponent only able to get to 1 Shadow Punch. They decided they were going to try to go for 2 Shadow Punches, but we're not able to make it. Lapras is going to get walled by Jellicent, and in comes the Forretress, forcing the opponent's hand to drop back into the Cradily, but because of the energy lead now that is on this Forretress, it is now in the driver's seat of this matchup after being stuck against the lag monster before in this game. Rock Tomb is going to be able to get the knockout here, and the opponent's Cradily is... Cradily gets knocked out. Rock Tomb. Oh man, you're getting close here. We're putting up a shield. We're getting this debuff. No worries. Lapras is going to definitely need the debuff. Going to go straight for it. Not even trying to go for any more Volt Switch damage. That Rock Tomb needs to land and find its shield here. The opponent knows that this is the last thing in the game that's going to hit very hard. And in comes Lapras. Oh, that was a catch. That was beautiful. The opponent goes for the Surf, and I think at this point it's completely over. It doesn't matter what they do. They're not going to be able to overwhelm this Lapras with a Rock Tomb debuff that they cannot swap out of. And these Sparkling Arias, while resisted, are going to add up with these Psy Waves. The opponent still trying to fight the good fight. and play this out. But unfortunately, they're just going to need more than 2 Shadow Balls, and that pretty much seals their fate here. Going for another Sparkling Aria, the opponent refusing to give in at this point, despite the game being more than over. But everybody has their reasons. We're going to be seeing the final Sparkling Aria get thrown here. The opponent's Jellicent is not going to be able to survive this hit, and that is a good game as Lapras takes the victory for us. I love this team. The gameplay was quite nice. I'm still salty AF about that Dusknoir catch that we didn't get, because that would have just been icing on the cake, bro. That would have been, mwah. Oh, that would have been the best catch I've seen in a minute, bro. Anyway, solid gains. They started in the low 2600s with this team making a massive run right up to past Expert Elo. So at the very least, if you're trying to gun for Expert, this team could do it, man. Proven success in that Elo bracket. I'll let you guys be the judge. Thank you again, RossyShawn, for sending in the games. Trainers, if you'd like to send in some battles of your own to the channel for Shoutcasting, there is a Google form down in the comment, in a pinned comment and description you can fill out and send it in, especially stuff for the new season, which we're going to be jumping right in on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern after the update goes at 4 p.m. Eastern to stream some of the new stuff. And I look forward to seeing y'all there. Thank you as always. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.